In this video, we will talk about the setuid and setgroup special permission bits for folders. First, I will create a folder and I will change the group of the folder to Sesame Street. I need to use sudo because my user doesn't belong to Sesame Street group, so only user can do that. So now I have a folder with normal permissions. Okay, those are the standard permissions that we use with the standard UMask when creating a folder. Now let's imagine that we have two users using that folder, and we want in that to have some files shared by this group in that folder. Okay, so if I create a file with the user, I don't have permissions. Okay, because I need to change to share folder and create the file. Okay, now I have the file, but take a look at the permissions. These permissions, so the file belongs to user Grover and group Grover. So it's a file owned by this user. So if another user tries to work with that file, okay, I can see the contents of the file. I will put something here. Okay, this user, Kermit, can see the contents of the file. Remember that Kermit will enter with this set of permission. Hey, it is not the owner. It's not. It doesn't belong to the group of the folder, so it will enter with read-only permissions. So I can see the contents of the file, but if I try to modify the file, I will get an error. So I mean, for example, for content to Robert file, I will get an error because I don't have permissions for that file. So we can do two things. We can either give right permissions to all user, that doesn't seem very secure, or change the file to the shared group. In this case, the owner of the file, Grover, could change the group of the file. Sesame Street Grover file. Okay. In this case, now the file belongs to Sesame Street, so we can have right permissions for that file, and other users of this group can modify the file. Okay, now the file can be modified by the other users of the group. So if we want to have folder with shared content, the content of that file, if we want the group to modify the files, will need to belong to the group. But by default, when we create a file, the file is created with the user of the creator and the group, the main group of the creator. So this is when the special bit set group ID for folders enters in action. Okay. So in this case, okay, remember we have created the file and it was created with Grover. We will modify add the set group ID bit to the folder. Okay. Now this folder, okay, this user doesn't belong to the group, so we can do it with sudo, or maybe Grover can do this. Okay, I can use a relative pair, sorry, without sudo. Okay, operation not permitted because I'm not the owner, so I will need to do it with sudo here. And now I have the set group ID for the folder set. So this time, if I create a folder, I create a file here. Uh, robertdos.txt. Okay, I've created the file and see what happens. Okay, this file, robert2, it directly has the group of the folder. I haven't needed to change manually the group like as I did with this file. So the set group ID bit for folders means that every file created inside that folder will be will belong to the group of the folder. So then if we share some files inside that folder, all the users will be able to, so we will be able to give permissions at group level. So for example, all the users of the group can modify the files and so on. So I will create just another file, launch another file. It belongs to the group. And if other user creates a file, okay, the new file belongs to Kermit. You can change the user of a file, but it will belong to Sesame Street user. The set UID special bit won't have any effect for folders. Why? Because it will be a security problem. So imagine I have here the folder. I can modify the it's mod. I can modify the permissions shared. I have the bit shared, but in this case it won't have the same effect as set group ID. It won't change the files created there to user because it will be a security issue. So it won't affect anything. It's like we haven't done anything in the folder. If Grover, I will remove all the files here. If Grover creates a file, it will belongs to Grover, and if Kermit creates a file, it will belong to Kermit. So never in any case in Linux you can change the owner to another user unless you are the root user.